for the east side. And I'm going to talk about the motions that just occurred, and I might say our new approach to Boca Royale Country Club. So those are my items. I think I'll do the last one first, and then back through. Mike, I don't see Daniel. Is he here?
I'll get it.
And I don't see Harry. That's what they're all waiting for 11 o'clock. Two texts in, please. And I don't see Randy. So those are the consequences. In the year 2020, beginning in March of 2021 and ending in November of 2022, we met with a county planner who had 262 emails from it's basically one person, and his followers, as much text as the New Testament, about 187,000 words. We have, I only know one lawyer in the room, but there's obviously more than one lawyer. What lawyers are in the room? We have a complex legal system in the state, and we Neil always want to be in compliance with the law. The reason we extended the declaration, of course, is because the allegation was made that a very small portion of Boca Royale Boulevard is owned by the Homeowners Association. So in my case, it's hard to invest $1.2 million in the stoplight, and about the same number for a boulevard entrance and a gatehouse, and about $400 million in construction. When there's a question as to what the ownership is, we think that the word in the declaration don't meet the requirement for the statute 8911. We don't think there's any merit to that argument. But in an abundance of caution, we extended the declaration about 2 months ago. And then the legal challenge was raised, well, there wasn't a proper notice. So in this case, we sent notice to the world and put it in email and the internet to make sure everyone at Boca Royale knew the nature of that extension. So we're going to have a great deal more formality in our workings here at Boca Royale. I think that's good for residents here, and I think it's good for Neil development. Our general counsel is Kyle Elliott. He's very smart, able, highly educated, easy to reach. I recommend him where he's not in conflict with me. He's a very good real estate practitioner. I've worked with the Williams Parker firm since 1976, and they're very fine lawyers. But they're not your lawyers. And the suggestion was made by Mr. Caddison that you need to have someone representing your interests. So we chose to go ahead and hire Mr. Buhadi, who I think is an excellent lawyer who represents a number of big associations, which we're involved with, but he never represents me. I don't know how to reach him. I can say hi, Michael, but that's about all I know about him. The question was asked, what would he do? Of course, if we have collections or liens, he would do that. If we need art enforcement, you might all know that we don't enforce architectural standards very expressly here at Boca Royale. I wish we did so, more so. Violations for speeding on the boulevard. We intend to have a radar control on the boulevard. Our biggest university park outside of council is speeding violations. And the speeders are residents or vendors, but sometimes it's vendors. So we intend to employ Mr. Buhadi. I don't think it will be expensive, and I don't think employ the new person. So we're just going to have, to avoid the zoning misunderstanding again, we're going to have a little bit more formality, and we're going to have a little bit more communication. In my early years, starting in 2012, at Boca Royale, we have lots of communication. I'd taken over a boat country club. Mr. Don DeSantis was mowing the lawn the first time I came here. I think he moved away. Got tired of mowing the lawn. The Boca 5, of which 2 members are present, operated the restaurant. It was, and the reason I bought it is that my former employee, Jonathan Pentecost, had bought it, and there happened to be our work back. And so, well, I've said many times, I got this property for free, and all I had to do was make it work. club lost $600,000 in the first year, plus the $600,000 improvements. And my goal then and now is to have a very successful property at the end. And as I've said many times, I don't want it on my resume that we sold all these nice people a good house and we just had to sell the golf course to somebody else. So the most important purpose and benefit in my mind in the new 825 to 841 members is to have enough people paying the due to buy the country club. And I think in 2025, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8, there'll be a sale of the country club. You in some fashion. That's my hope. I hope they have enough people paying it. I prefer to have a mid-course sale. The benefit of that is we're all together doing the same thing. Usually, after a property has been completed, there's plenty of rock and roll, and the developer's interest and the homeowner's interest are the same. So that's my goal. It was stated in 2012. It's stated today, and I hope you understand it and believe it. Short version will have more formality. You'll have your own lawyer. We intend to meet more often. You're sick of me. Maybe you're sick of me already.
The
HOA and communication. I don't know how often we meet. Ivy Matthews is my #1 person in charge of the community. I think she does a great job. I want you to communicate freely with Ivory and Kate. That's the end of that one section. I'll do 3 or 4 questions if there are any questions. None? I'd like to talk about the club plan, please. As I said, the intent is to have the East memberships be members of Boca Royale Country Club so that they pay the fee. They're not going to be on the core golf course, and I'm not 100% sure that they'll pay the same fee as you, but it's certainly my wish that they do. That means I think you probably pay about $120 a month for club membership. We're going to spend about $5.3 million on these buildings, in part for hurricane repair and partly for remodeling. And I think you'll find it a much better than it is today. A place that you'd like to bring your friends, a place that you want to recommend your friends from Decatur, Illinois to come by here. And I think you'll enjoy the club. In addition to that, we'll spend at least $400,000 and $177,000 replacing the golf buildings that blew away September 29th. And we'll spend $500,000, $600,000 or $700,000 of our money on golf course trees, and golf course improvements. In addition, I do hope that you spend $400,000 or $800,000 on your own improvement tonight. And I'm very anxious that you close that loan because I think the property looks crummy. And if you can't get the loan created, I want to say sweetly, I'm going to use my authority as good time and ask for a assessment and maybe we pay back the loan. I just think as we still have 100 days of growing season, we need to start rebuilding local area. I take your notice on that. Does anyone strenuously disagree with the idea of using the summer and the summer sun and photosynthesis to start landscaping at this time? Don't you think that's the right thing to do? Yes, sir.
Pat, I'm curious, what do you think looks crummy in Boca Royale?
Well, I think the streets look crummy.
No, just give me a couple of examples.
Let's go in Boca Royale Boulevard, go 700 or 800 feet in and look at all the trees that have been destroyed or knocked down and are parallel to the ground. They don't look like trees, they look like windfall. We've chosen not to maintain the grasses that we're going to repair. Look at the irrigation on the St. Augustine on Boca Royale Boulevard. And it doesn't meet the standards of what I think is a first-class country club experience. My intent is to upgrade this building and the premises. And the reputation and the image of Boca Royale, in my opinion, primarily to get higher prices than insurance.
But would you spend any money on a golf field?
So, tell me what golf.
Unit 10. I mean, it's the access to unit 10, units 1 to 10.
Yes, we would spend homeowner money on golf. Of course, we would spend homeowner money on Gulfview, and to the extent that I have an economic interest, we would spend it on. I just don't think it looks like. Grand Palm, for example, a 1,600 home community has spent about $1.2 million. And I would say it looks 2 times as good as it did. And the sales have gone back up. In my mind, it's my fiduciary duty to maintain the community value here at local layout. I heard a number of you say that last meeting. I'll do the last one, Doc, and then you say.
I agree with you.
Perfect. I'd like to know once you get the word, I completely agree with. So
Let's begin with the entrance. First of all, Common Area Landscape Committee on the advisory board has put forth plans to beautify both L'Oreal in a very purposeful way. I'm starting at the south gate, but this applies to the north gate. It's darker than Hayden's. We've requested additional lighting. That would make it so much better. I'm going to go to the south gate and look at the voluminous number of work vehicles and now a porta potty that sits in our club lot. And you used the word last month, shabby. That's shabby to me. And it's first impression.
hey, Mark, where are you?
He's there.
What you excited about it?
The problem is, nowhere to go with those types of vehicles, and every time we ask, can the landscapers who live here or there or here, is there a spot in the back 40 where we could fence in something for a while so that it wouldn't look like it? Presentation itself is everything, and our first impressions are stinky. We have asked for the roof, the cupola, to be tiled for a year and a half. We're still waiting. The north gate, the lighting, people complain about it all the time. So yes, we are on board. I'm on board, and I know the landscape committee is on board. We have plans. We presented the plans. We want to get started, especially in the planting time. But your characterization of Boca as being flattened last month to the head of a lot of folks, because they're like, we're dancing as fast as we can. So I agree with you. Let's get started. And my hope is that the loan comes through thanks to the tireless efforts of our property management office, and that loan was led by Jessica Nance. Thank you.
I'm very proud of Jessica. I'm very proud of your team, and we all thought we'd get the loan right now. We're going to have a little comment, and then we're going to have a strong vote.
Jim Butnitz. I've heard from a lot of golfers that the golf course needs a lot of work. I was wondering if you were talking about it earlier, if you could expound a little bit, particularly in the area of improving the irrigation system. That seems to be one of the biggest questions most people have.
If you don't mind, I will definitely answer your question, but I'd like to stay on homeowner association matters just for a second.
Okay.
And then we'll come back.
You suggested a slightly different social membership rate between Boca West and Boca East. My understanding is essentially the golf operation stands on its own. Essentially, the rackets stand on its own. So the balance, I thought, was the social activities. If they're part of the social activities and West is part of the social activities, why do you believe there should be a difference in memberships?
I think that's a real good question. And in my mind, it is a question. You all are here bordering this core golf course. My concern from the perspective of selling new homes to people who aren't here at this time, 4,000 feet east and 4,000 feet north, is whether they will see this as the center of their community activity, or whether they'll see Welland Park as the focus of their activity. Welland Park is going to be a fabulous place with their restaurants and clubs and hospital and nursing care facility and a community park. I believe that community in due course will be Welland Park based. So I'm concerned as to whether I can sell the property with this payment. Now, if you look at my interest, I'd rather have a payment of $150 than $50. You can see that. So here's my interest line. It's just a matter of market. Two more questions.
Might it be more equitable to reduce our rate and slightly raise theirs and balance it so it's all the same, so that they are representative of our community, not another separate entity? We've got too many divisions in the community now. So there's 10 versus, the pools and all these divisive things. Don't add another.
I have 4 million reasons not to lower the fees. All I'm trying to do is recover 2012 through 2000. Where are you, Doug? Doug made money for the first time in history, and then the hurricane came. It was crazy. And I've spent $5.3 million on this asset recently. And there's a golf club to talk about and a lot of other things. So I wouldn't count on being anymore. So that's a good point.
Glenn Ventrell, back to your shabby comment.
Did that hurt your feelings?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't mean to hurt
Well,
your feelings.
it should hurt your feelings.
It hurt my feelings.
Well, also because I'm the chair of the ARC and I don't agree with your comment. But I'll talk to you separately. But if you look at the landscaping here, we were several years with a very poor landscape company, but very cheap. So the decisions were made many years ago to keep them, and we suffered the consequence. New landscape company comes in, we've raised the rate quite a bit, and they've been here 6 months, and they're still not really up to speed because of the conditions it was in. And it's probably going to take another month or so before they say they are up to speed and get on a regular schedule. So what you're seeing is multiple years of neglect. It's not the hurricane, got nothing to do with the hurricane. This is neglect that's been going on here. So I just think that should be clear.
All right, we're going to go into the wilderness a little bit. Typically, homeowners favor low fees for reasons that are obvious. I want you to hear that typically developers favor high fees because they want things to look good to the new people. This property, unlike this property's been here since 1950, since this is Clark County Golf. So it's unusual, the 29 communities that I'm involved with. It's sales. 29 meal communities plus our value grant, plus our safety grant, but actually almost 40. It's completely different. And in some ways, I've let the community manage its own affairs. And to my eyes, it just doesn't look as good as it should. The benefit to all of us is your house will have more value, you'll enjoy your premises better, you'll enjoy your private, your Aunt Susie, you can live here in Boca Royale, and you won't have to cringe when you go by the porta potty when you drive in. That's just not the way I want it. And my interests are still. I just think we've spent 9 months and 13 days, 14 days since the hurricane. We just kind of have to get on with it. So
I would say it's more value for our money. If we spend money, we expect to get the right amount of value for it, as opposed to we want low fees.
I'm intending the money to be spent by your committees.
Right.
On your homes.
Right.
And if I plan to spend $5.3 million and more on the golf course, then I hope that you'll spend more money on yours. That's kind of simple concept. All right, we're gonna have a test vote. Myrna, what was your final words that were pretty good? Did you say, I think we should get on it? Did you say that?
I said, I think we should get on with our plans to unify our community. And so that's what I meant. I didn't mean we should get on the building.
Okay, well, I think that's not what we want to say.
I advise you on the building.
Mike, what would the likelihood possibly listen for Boca Royale West resident Is it an $800 bill or a $1,200 or a $1,600 bill?
We're speaking of the SBA loan?
No, for the total amount that you think needs to be spent upgraded.
Well, we've spent $1 million cleaning it up.
We have spent $1
We
million.
have spent $1 million. We have a budget of several $100,000 to start replanting things that we haven't already started replanting.
And we've spent $1 million by taking from our reserve.
We spent $1 million from taking from reserves and working capital.
Okay, so we have no money.
We have money, but we don't have the buckets of money like we used.
So say, replace the $1 million and $400,000 extra, $1.4 million. Simple math divided by 1,000, $1,400 each. Question, and local royal, is it apportioned by lot class or is it unitary?
It is unitary.
It's what?
Unitary, it's not by the size of your house.
Everyone will pay the same
Units,
amount.
everybody pays the same amount in each.
By door fronts, it's not by size of the lot.
But it's only units 1 to 10 that are paid in the deferred maintenance.
Right.
I would say this assessment goes against all and all.
If we had an assessment other than the SBA loan, it would be assessed on all.
All right, to paraphrasing Myrna says, your choices are, let's get on with it. You use a growing season, or the option is, let's not get on it, let's wait till we get the SBA and then work it out later. Oh, who favors getting on with it? Not me. Everybody, somebody says. Who would like to defer until we get the loan? I'll be on with this, win by 3-1, I think.
But you don't do that with an empty pocket.
We have to talk about, which is a very dangerous situation for us at the end. As in, well, what about the hurricane season in 2023? So, Mike, I'd like to have a little private discussion with you as to the timing of the SBA and when the sun shines and Florida and stuff. Do you have a functioning, use your tummy your name, your last name in English?
Glenn Ventrell.
Yes, sir.
Glenn Ventrell.
Are you the landscape?
No,
chairman?
I'm the ARC resort pool and on the HOA AB.
Who's the landscape? chairman? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Great. You're a leader, it's natural waters. So you can, got what I wanted to hear, frankly, and you've heard my prejudice.
I'm happy to work with you. For your people,
We'll be working with
these people.
representatives. We're gonna take a second on ARC. In the less expensive communities, we have some crazy stuff that goes on, namely trucks, sounds, flags of all sorts and types, fire flags, Trump flags, upside down flags, political messages. I don't really see that at local right now. I do see some older houses, especially in 1 through 10, that are out of compliance with the maintenance standards. Roofs, mold, trees not trimmed, and quote, things that reveal that these expensive homes aren't being maintained because of maybe non-resident owner. I'm just going to ask a general question. State my voices. I prefer more enforcement and more rigorous enforcement of the ARC standard. Most developers don't want to do that. And they want to.
So just to clarify,
What's your voice?
the ARC does not take care of, that's compliance and property management. That is not the ARC that takes care of roofs and overgrowth and things like that. Two separate entities. We take care of what you want to do or what you should be doing going forward.
I would favor more compliance.
Right.
Which is not your requirements, don't go right behind me.
Yeah.
And Mr. Prohibiting.
And we have a governance and compliance committee. Led by Joanna and Stroll. And their job, of who are community members, and their job. In consort with the property management team. Is to keep the kinds of things that you just mentioned from being displayed. We do have folks who would love to have signs, banners, pickup trucks, this, that, and the other, boats on the side of the house. That has all been, if you will.
You did a good job with that. Those.
They have done an excellent job, but they are very active.
My issue is maintenance. I'll do a strong vote. I'm gonna get on with it on principle. And the choices will be, we'd like to get on with it with some greater enforcement of non-compliance and maintenance. And the second vote will be, no, we like it just like it is. Those who in favor of more compliance on maintenance issues, raise that. Big vote. Those who oppose that action, raise that. Okay, that's a good answer. And you have absolution from any decisions, that's depending on the people back here. And lawyers and all those kind of people. You sir, one question and I'm gonna go on.
I'm just concerned that we're all upset about a welcome flag hanging outside our house. Isn't that neighborly?
It's not a welcome thing. I'm not concerned about a welcome flag. I'm concerned about the mold, the mildew, the roots.
Well, I got a letter on being a welcome flag. I don't understand that.
All right, that's not my department. That's what the ARC is for. All right, finishing the club plan, my hope would be that we are able to charge the same fee that we have one class of member, east and west. That's still an open issue, and it will not be resolved until quote, shortly before we offer for sale, likely the end of 2024. New topic, the remaining 120 home sites at local Royal West. We are selling them at the rate of about 5 a month. Quote, sales are okay, not exceptional. We have no recession in Florida. We don't have a soft landing. We don't have any landing at all. We have a boom. Neil has not lowering prices to any significant extent, and people from Illinois and California are moving here. We're selling slowly through the rest of local Royale. And of course, we'll sell out. We'll have a small transition to the new community to the east. As a Daniel. Stand by. The golf club. Who here plays golf? That's surprising. I have the impression only about 20% of the residents at local Royale play golf now. Is that reasonably accurate?
That's accurate.
A normal number is about 30%. So it's true that the golf course doesn't look that good. I've asked Doug to give me a budget of several $100,000, and he gave me a budget to move my socks off on Sunday night. But Doug has done a great job on behalf of the club and the owners. For the first time, we really have people in the club who really believe in the club. Do you all see that? You care about the club.
Yes.
And presumably that's better for you and also better for people who might be coming in. And I can answer your question. You say the current engineer is responsible, and we have a new property sometime soon, Daniel. We're going to be able to come in here and use it. After all, this is a makeshift room that's still be remodeled, but by the time we get done, it will be a lovely new property. And property any in South Palm County. So I have to start looking at the golf clubs. And that's my plan. Again, it's just a money pit, and I have to do a money pit. I think the irrigation is a topic. I think the fact the grass is a topic. I heard the greens are. I'd like you to, if you want to communicate to Doug about all the bad things you see, he's got a list of them. Tells me them every time I see him. And he's given me this huge list of things he wants to do. So it's an open question. If I can get everything settled down here and get the engine started and underway for the new property, I will start quote investing in the club golf course. I'm not making any specific promises as to what and where, that's to be decided at this point.
Yeah, just an FYI, this is for the sake of both golfers and non-golfers. A property was for sale 2 doors over for me, a resale. People love the house. They made a tea time that afternoon. And they no longer wanted to live here. It is very much so in your interest also to be making that golf course good and for all of our best interest in the value of our homes.
Thank you. What is your name?
Joyce Warner.
Thank you, Joyce. I'll go to simple stuff. Units 18 and 19, I think you will see that 18 is under construction. Kind of. I believe we'll have 18 lots in the Discovery Center and I believe 5 or 6 models. Markdale will be done. Model homes might start at the beginning of the year 2024 and be done 3rd quarter of 2024.
In December start and probably in October finish. November.
And when you see the Discovery Center open, you'll see ours going on the east. Doug and Daniel will talk about the club. Doug and Daniel, do you want to come up here and talk about what you're doing and when it'll be done? Please. Is Randy Olson here?
I don't think so. I haven't seen that.
Okay.
Want the mic?
With the club being back inside and back in some air conditioning and moving in, there is a lot of work that's being done and it's you really don't see that's behind the other side of the wall and in the other rooms and on the roof. And those things are progressing and moving along. In fact, even AC guys are here doing some additional work today. From what I understand through Daniel and the construction side of it, the work should be late fall, if not the first part of November, when we get the 19th hole and the dining pavilion open, to then be able to move into the room we're sitting in now to do the renovation and the makeover for this area. So in the meantime, we're on our normal schedule as we do for any meal planning or events, and we'll continue working towards that over the summer and as we get into the next winter. And I think with the functions and things that we've done since we've opened, I think it'll be a popular location and people are anxious to get back in and doing regular routines and things here at the main club. So, and it all ties into what, the golf maintenance facility this week with the work that they've done in prepping that land in that area for the landscaping and the fencing that's going to surround the buildings out there, so that will be covered and you won't see any of those outside there. And repair work is being done on the golf course. And yeah, it's not 100% and won't be, and there's still a lot more to do in the week shutdown that's going to take place in August. There'll be additional things done.
I'm going to break in. It's 11 o'clock. For those who quote just tuned in, we started early. This is recorded, so we'll ask that you continue with us until we're completed, and then go back for the first 26 minutes. Daniel.
Yeah, you don't see what's going on inside of there because everything's getting closed up, but it's gonna look really good. I mean, everything's being brought up to the 21st century, all new electronics, everything is super cool. It's gonna look really, really nice. That's all I can say. And yeah, just like Doug said, end of, around September, October, I'm hearing to be done before Halloween, but
When you say you'll be done before Halloween, that would be on the west part of the building, or would that include this room?
no, this room, I think we're planning for after the new year.
And
just so we don't shut
Can you
down.
explain that?
Yeah, I mean,
That's
you know,
self-explanatory.
yeah, we don't want to shut down for New Year's Eve and everything, so. And then after January, you know, things kind of slow down, so we have the perfect time to remodel this room.
What about the golf wing?
The pro shop and everything.
Yes.
We're finalizing all the design and everything. That's not as invasive as all the other stuff, because this is really kind of big. So I feel that we should be at the same point. When all this opens up, the pro shop should be opened up as well.
What about the cart, storage?
We're getting pricing for that, and we're gonna try and match everything, so it kind of looks nice with the new pavilion, so it looks brand new and really, you know, spruces everything up, because what it is right now, it's not exactly pretty. So,
Do you have any porta potties standing out in the front?
not in the front,
What about that horrible orange screen around the tree?
that we have to have, that the city made us do. That's part of the permit, yeah, the county. They would not let us even get the permit. That held us back like a week or two from starting work because they made us do it. We couldn't believe it. They made a big stink about it.
I can't remember the porta potty standard for compartments that we have to have.
Yeah.
I'm certain. Vern and I are like this.
Could you paint it green?
We don't love, of course, we don't know the porta. Questions for Daniel?
The renovation of this room, is this gonna be like stripped out completely, or is it cosmetic? How much of this room is gonna be for? Because you mentioned when it slows down in January, that's not when it slows down,
We have
from
a,
our standpoint.
we have a new roof. This is a red iron building. Remember, Mr. Thompson was an architect. He built the strongest, except for all the things that flew off the building. The red iron is very strong structure, so what's inside will be, I'll say, more decorating than it is structural, but it will be a new look. I don't know. That chandelier is only 50 years old, and we might replace that, I don't know.
You could wash it.
We might want to watch it, absolutely, but it's going to be a lovely facility. My wife is the designer, she's given a limited budget, and she always exceeds.
It's just after the new year, in January, you know, we're gonna see how things are scheduled. That's gonna be what we're kind of dug and working with the club. Yeah.
Question for Doug. I'm starting getting requests for the resort pool because they don't think this is gonna be done by the end of the year. So for November and December, can I say no to those, and say that they should be booking them here, that they normally would book here?
What I would say is, along with every schedule that we've had here, things have been behind.
Yeah,
So as we shoot and Daniel shoots for that October, November timeframe. At this point, I wouldn't commit to saying the building in here is gonna be ready.
how about if I say we'll hold the date as a backup?
Yeah, I think that holding a date and having plan B is always the way to go.
Everything we do in the last 2 years has been 2.7 times as hard as we think it's going to be. We thought we'd get through the supply crisis, we're not through that, but now we're in, I'd say, a very serious labor crisis in Florida. We can't get enough workers, we now have an interstate immigration law, and the truth actually is, every morning, our 63 builders wait for somebody to show up, and they don't show up, but you can't fire them because they won't show up the next day. It's just a crazy situation. You, sir, and that's.
We have a schedule for the outside night. That's gonna be at the same time as well, like end of October. And all at the same time, trying to finish everything wrapped up.
Thank you, Danny. Thanks, Doug and Mike for taking care of this now. Randy, I saw you.
Yeah,
You're up. Randy, tell us about the pickle. Did you ever get the permit for the pickleball court?
Yes,
How long did it take to get the permit?
yeah, we've already gotten the site work
Tell us how long it took to get the permit.
from January till March, I think it was.
I would say, how long did it take you to do the site plan before you applied for it?
Well, I mean, we submitted the site plan for approval, and that's what brought the permit, so January through March, we were in County. So, good news is, we were supposed to pave it today with 4 new pickleball courts, we're paving it Thursday, the 15th, day after tomorrow. 45-day cure time. In the meantime, we'll put the fence up and we'll do the lighting. Then we'll come back, do all the concrete. And then that includes a parking lot for the new golf, for the golf carts. It's gonna be really state of the art, 10-foot wide path going in. And then all the irrigation landscape inside. So that's kind of where we're at. Well, Labor Day, I'll be hopefully getting done with it. That's kind of where we're at. So,
There's 4 new pickleball courts.
yeah.
Is there anything else that's new?
Yeah, we're doing the new fencing, the new lighting. There's just shade awning with a bench for the new pickleball courts and all the new irrigation landscape
Have
inside.
you repaired the fence and screens,
Yeah, they repaired.
the lights?
They repaired the existing.
Is there a bocce ball court?
No, there's not a new bocce ball court that works yet. It's not any on a design yet.
Who wants a bocce ball court? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, it's on the website, either to take it off the website or build a bocce court.
Yeah, no, we brought this up on the last meeting. Honestly, I need to get with design and kind of
I
look
mean,
at.
just say that's the rule, either to take it off the website, or build a bocce court. Let's do that again. Who really would play bocce? Really? Who among you want to played bocce before?
We tried, but it was challenging.
Those are the rules, really. Okay, we are at 11:07. I'd like to close down soon. I'll say 7 minutes. First, any questions for Randy?
You mentioned 19 in what you were going to speak, but you didn't. I don't think I
I'm
heard.
sorry. 18 is at the front entrance. 19 is a small 2-acre site right across the street from the current sales office. What do you do 19, Randy?
I am finally, without getting into the gory detail, without getting into all the gory details with the government, that we submitted our final comment. So I should have a permit, like I said before, with pickleball court any day. Hopefully, as soon as I get that approved permit and the plan approval, I've already got the contractor on standby. Forsberg Construction will begin the site work, and it's very minimal amount of site work. Because of the elevation and everything, we already got the existing street, sanitary water and all that, so hopefully, I'm gonna say the next 3 weeks I could get that approved.
Your lips to God's ears.
I know. Yeah.
The question about that is the area, that is also the entrance for the North King, the North people, the people who live on the north side. Will your construction overwhelm the entrance, or are you planning how you're gonna have both things going on at the same time?
Yeah, we're working on that as far as like you mean construction activity and this.
The larger.
Right, yeah, we are definitely gonna have that handled. We're not gonna impede the existing current traffic. I mean, we're here as family in a way, you know, so we're not going to interrupt
Make
that.
that promise. There's no place for them to park. How are you gonna,
We're-
how can you make that
literally-
promise? I can't even go down Boca Royal Boulevard if you're building houses there.
The company that's doing this right now, I mean, we've done things in existing areas that would be impossible to do and we pull it off, so I'm not too concerned about it. We're gonna work with you hand in hand. I mean, we're not gonna stop the traffic, we're not gonna danger the residents with golf carts, bicycles, things like that. We are gonna be on top of it. As usual, I'm just speaking for Neil communities. We're not gonna do it wrong, we're gonna do the right thing.
Questions, concerns, comments,
Um,
ideas?
I apologize, I came in a little late, you may have addressed this, but this is about, the maintenance on the properties in terms of mowing and trimming. Schedule,
Do you think it's too good or not good enough?
it's not good. I mean, grass is 8 inches high, bushes are all over, it just looks very unkept.
Where do you live?
I live on Driver Lane in Unit 11, Martin. And I can't get any answers relative to, are they coming this week? Are they coming tomorrow?
Maybe you can get answers.
I call up by, sent notes to the HOA.
People get in, it should be called. If
I
you raise your
sent
hands.
to
Yeah.
somebody, I mean, this is not rocket science, we just want to know when the maintenance is going to start. It should be done weekly now, our grass is out of control. And it doesn't look right, it doesn't look well.
A uniform experience here. Local. Yeah, it's great. Well, that's what I think. Earlier, we had, say, more extensive discussion about maintenance standards. And there was a show of hands and the operative word is let's get on with it. My personal view as the declarant is we have to get on with it. We might have to spend a little bit more money and the maintenance standards are pulling down the value of this community. That's my attitude.
It is.
Yeah, I say it was more or less the attitude expressed by people.
Yeah, I can tell you, I've been here now 7 years. I was enamored when I was driving the Buffalo and Buffalo Boulevard and all. If you drive up past Hole One,
What do you say it's money? Is it better or worse than the ones that you?
oh, definitely. It's a nice work, frankly. That's my opinion. It's a nice work. And our lawn needs to be passed. I'm still waiting for when are they gonna come and trim my bushes? Anybody? When are they coming to trim my bushes?
In that unit as of today, because that's all this good. And for me,
I heard last week.
Hey Jessica, what's your phone number? Shout it out. Really?
I don't have a work copy, but the best way to do it is to email the HOA hotline, because we respond to everything usually within the day, sometimes it's the middle of the night. And that way we can forward that on to our landscape team, so we always have a record and that no one can ever say that.
Two more questions and then
My name is Sue Bell. I'm also a resident of Union 11. I live on a home on one. The other issue in Unit 11 is the pool. Now, they've done a great job in cleaning it up and doing the maintenance of the pool. But the pool deck itself was there yesterday with a group of women. There are weeds growing out of the pool deck. Someone came and it appeared that it may have been a salesperson to tell somebody, and it was an embarrassment for them to see them. It is, and it was dirty, and it's dirty, and it's not sanitary.
well, I heard the feelings of the people present. You think that's a problem of money to the vendor? Do you think it's a problem of vendor management, or do you think it's a problem of management within this organization?
All of it.
I all know.
All of the above.
I don't. The money part, but.
And the resort pool would never look like the money. And that is, I mean, we're one community and we feel as residents who pay, pretty substantial HOA fee every month that those pools look pretty much the same and be of the same quality.
Yes, ma'am.
I had an issue with my irrigation and I had an issue, Gail Grimes, and an issue with my irrigation. I sent a letter, an email to HOA indicating issue irrigation. And I know that my request for help was emailed directly to irrigation. And we're supposed to use the topic so it goes out to the right person immediately. This morning I received a call from Dalton. And it was very interesting, very nice. They said they are going through.
Dalton, the vendor?
Dalton is the landscape. I'm a gardener, so I'm out in my yard all the time. And I know there's certain things that happen. For example, I know that my irrigation is not working properly. I have one line that works, 3 that don't work. Okay. But I have no way of checking that because most of us cannot turn on our own irrigation. We cannot do that. So we need to have Dalton come out or someone come out and check irrigation for us. When they come out, they don't tell us. So we don't know it's been checked. So then again, just as you said, you call again.
and you don't get an answer, so you then call again. So in discussion with the woman I spoke with this morning, who was a very, very lovely person, she said to me, we have tags and we were trying to get the people who work on your property to put the door tags on your door saying, fix needs more work, which means it's in the system to get it done, which is communicating. I will say personally that I've never had my yard done better. It's not done as well, as much, but it's never done better than when Dalton has come here. And they are very responsive to anything that you want. I agree. They are working very hard and they really care about what they're doing.
Who hired Dalton? Is it your team or our team? People are happy with Dalton? Yeah.
So my question, I do have a question regarding this because I think it affects all of us. My system is failing. It has nothing to do with what I've done. It has to do with the nature of the product that's put in the ground. It is not doing its job anymore. I'm not getting the water I need. I'm getting a little bit over here. Am I responsible for digging up that hose and putting in a new one? Or since it was done and you are guaranteeing me,
Remember, we don't get flows. Our problem with water isn't your system. EWD doesn't have water in the summer because the people are here.
no, you're misunderstanding. There are about 4 hoses that crisscross in my front yard. All right, in my garden, in a large garden in the front yard. One of them is great, it works. The other 3 hoses, which are drippers, are dry all the time. I've done everything I needed to do over the years of living here to check the water. And I have been told, we turn it on, we turn it off, it's great. Now I know that it's not working. And so what I requested was to be notified when Dalton came to work on my yard, if in fact they were going to do it. The problem again is 927 homes or whatever, say 800, and they don't have the time to do that. So the one thing they're doing is they're going to be putting these tags on your door so that you know that they've actually listened to you when they've come. So I think they're trying the best they can, but my issue is the system, that the rippers in the ground are clogged. There's no way for me to clean them out.
You should just send that to property management. That's something Dalton takes care of, is cleaning out the lines to see if it's a line or if obstruction in the line or buildup of dirt.
All right, but I was told by, well, okay, so you're saying to me that I don't have to repair them.
First step is property management. And then
Wait,
they go, they clean the, they try to blow the line out.
Folks, I'd like to have a subcommittee, please. Please just, please on.
So I'm just curious as to who's responsible for this.
Meet with Jessica after the meeting.
Yeah.
It's Dalton's responsibility, but you gotta get them to do it.
Yeah, I'm sure they will. It's just a matter of not knowing who's responsible.
Folks, I've enjoyed the last 45 minutes. Thanks for being here. We do not plan a meeting in months of July or August, summertime. Likely we'll have a meeting in September. We announced if there's a reason we should do so. Decisions I've heard is get on with it. And Daniel, wherever you are, get on with it. So that's my story. Thanks for being here. Thanks for inviting me.